Hi viewers, I hope you are keeping safe and taking care of yourself and your loved ones. We are excited today to have another great personality with us. And today we have Naheed Khan with us. Naheed, she's been inspiring people and transforming their lives for more than a decade now. She's an NLP master practitioner, behavior consultant, thought leader, and a sought after inspirational speaker. Her experience as an learning and development professional and a consultant to the government made her realize the gap that exists between expectations and reality, and how mindset impacts an individual development and future success. She speaks to transform the thought process and strives to unearth the limitless potential of individuals. She's an extended DISC administrator and excels in creating mindset and behavioral transformation in individuals. She makes her participant embark on a journey of self-transformation. Well, I can read it for hours and hours, but it's better if we speak to her and get to know about how she is impacting and how she is inspiring the world. Thank you so much, Naheed, for joining us today. Thank you so much and welcome to our show.
Thank you so much, Adnan. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. So tell me, how's your quarantine is going on? How's this COVID-19 has impacted your life, and how you have managed to survive this whole situation?
I haven't survived it actually. I've thrived during this period.
That's what I wanted to learn. Great.
Yes. I mean, not everything in life is work. And that's something which I have realized, and now I live it. I was a workaholic. I was a severe workaholic when I was working with in the corporate world. I was working with big MNC. So there it was like, time was nothing. Time was something which the company owned. So you had to work all odd hours. And I used to love it. So because I used to love my work, the work that I was doing was so close to me. I was so passionate about it. But it didn't matter to me what time I start, what time I end. In fact, there was never an end. So, coming down to this period today, during this time, the last 3 months especially, I moved to Dubai 1.5 years back. So the last whole year, it was a rush and a hustle to set up things out here, to start our new life, start everything afresh out here in Dubai. So this last 3 months, it brought a lot of stability in our life. It just made us take a pause, which we could not. We took holidays and everything. But then, this kind of a pause was something very different. It made us more rooted. As a family, we got the time that we didn't get for the last couple of months now. So we got the time to bond, to do things together. And as an individual, I believe that we got a lot of time to reflect. At least I did. A lot of things which were, in all directions came down. A lot of focus came in life. A lot of self-development work, which was on the hooks for the very long time, restarted again. I reconnected with my own loves, which is, reading and of course, music. So doing all of that brought a lot of clarity, a lot of peace, and a lot of, as I said, rootedness in my life. So it's been amazing. It's been a growing journey for the last 3 months. And then of course, work-wise, it's been going good, alhamdulillah. So it's been great. And I get to do what I love to do. So that's the best part.
So what made you to come to Dubai? You said you came here about 1.5 years ago.
Yes.
What was the reason?
I've been coming to Dubai since 2016. I've been coming here. I've been working as a consultant with a firm based in Singapore. So I was as their consultant, I used to come here and I used to facilitate workshops on design thinking. And I'd been doing that almost. I was here every month, twice a month, sometimes. So every time that I used to come, Dubai used to keep a piece of me back. Every time that I used to come, I just left a piece of me back out here. So the right choice and the right decision was actually to just move on here. We loved this place, me and my husband. So work-wise also, we saw a lot of opportunities. We saw, I don't know. Maybe I think the love for the city was one of the reasons why we moved out here.
Right, and you mentioned about your love for the books, and you started reading, especially this time when you had time. What kind of books inspire you the most? And if you want to recommend any books to our audience.
I would definitely recommend Ikigai. That's one awesome book. I restarted reading a lot of books which I had read quite a long time back. So one of them being Seven Habits, which is one of my most favorite books. So, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. That's one book which I restarted. Then I started rereading books of my mentor, Dr. Richard Bandler. So I've quite a few books of his. So getting back in touch with my NLP roots, getting back in touch with my people development roots, and getting back in touch with the transformation. So I'm a very purpose driven person. More than passion, it's the purpose which drives me. So getting reconnected with the purpose, I love these kind of books, which makes me see more clearly what I stand for, what I do.
Great. Naheed, anything which is not on your profile, which world doesn't know about you, and you would like to share that with our audience today?
There's what in terms of work. I have been an L&D professional. Today, people know me as a coach, but I am a people's development person. So when you say people development, I'm not just saying that in terms of only in the organizations, but my passion is to just try to shake up the perceptions that you have about yourself and the world, and try to look within. So that's something which I believe everybody anyways knows about me, but something which they don't know. I do a lot of behavioral work, and I do a lot of work with students. So that is something which I don't mostly speak about. I do a lot of work with students because as a student, I had a lot of aspirations and a lot of dreams, but I didn't have any guidance. So I had to actually spend approximately a decade of my life trying to search for the place where I could apply my passion, my purpose, and do the work that I love to do. I was into training and development, then I was in learning and development, then I was with in organizational development, then I was as a change consultant. And that's where I found the spark. When I was working with the government of India, and I was doing capacity development, and I was leading the change management initiatives in the state. That is when it actually struck me that this is what I want to do. I want to create transformations. I want people to have that aha moment in their life and realize that, I have so much in me. I've just never realized my potential. Something which I still keep on evolving with in myself, and something which I find that when I help people do that, it just adds so much of satisfaction and value to my life.
As you mentioned about working with the students, you work with the corporates, you work in the government sector, but working with young generation, working with young minds where they are developing and they have lots of hopes, and they have lots of expectations of societies are there, and they are in a fix where to go and which path to choose. So how's that experience working with the young minds?
See, working with youth started when I was a student myself. So when I was doing my MBA, that is when I started training final year graduation students on personal development and interview preparations and everything. And the more and more I did that for quite some time. I did that for approximately 5-6 years. And the more and more I actually used to interact with students, I used to understand one thing is that, they go with what they've been told they are good about. They are good at what they think they are good at, but they never look within. So many times when we used to have those trainings, people used to come out with stuff that they were like, oh wow, I didn't know I had this in me. And then when I was working in the organizations, in the corporate, and I was doing hiring and I was getting people on board, they came with so much of expectations, and the reality of the corporate world was so different. Even as a student, even I found that, when I was doing my MBA, I had such a different picture of what an organization life would be for myself. But when I went in, the reality was something very, very different than what we expect. And I saw when I was working with the students again, as a behavioral consultant, I used to do consultancy on behavioral modifications. So I used to coach students on that. And majority of the students, they used to come with issues related to stress, some of them even suffering from depression. Some of them who were, absolutely clueless what they want to do in life, because their parents said something and they wanted to do that, but their heart was never in it. So when I started working with them, the realization which came was that, they're not thinking from their mind. They're thinking from everything else, which they think is good for them. So that was one of the major reasons that I started working with students. Second thing, the future. When the more and more I got involved, the more and more I saw the changes. I saw that the future is very different from what we are being told or what we think when we are starting with our professional life. The future of the workplace, the future of organizations, the future of how work or employment is going to be like. So that was one of the major reasons why I started doing mindset work with students, because they needed to question. They didn't need to come up with just going to find a job which is going to give them security and stability, because there's no such thing. It's a perception that we come up with, that a job will give me stability and security. You are your own stability, you are your own security. If you can believe that you're good at something, it doesn't matter whether you have a job or not. You will make your career, you will make your future. Setting this belief in the students was very important, because the number of suicide cases were increasing like anything. I mean, their concept of self-worth was based on grades, based on which college they got an admission in, based on which university they came out from. I've worked with students when they come to me and they said that I don't have a graduation or qualification from a big college. Do you think that I get a good job? How does that matter? But they had this perception that, if somebody from a big college or a big university is sitting there, my CV is not going to be even looked at. They did not have faith or belief in their own self. That's because of everything which was going on here. So I said, instead of going and saying that, you should do this, you should do that, you first need to start here. Once you can change this, the future is for you to create. It's not for you to go up and grow up in. It's for you to create whatever you want to create for yourself. You can, if you believe. So that's what started the transformation work with students. And today I do this transformation work focused on the future of workplace, which is the transformations which are happening, the transitions which are happening with the fourth industrial revolution, wherein a lot of machines were coming in and there was a lot of apprehension in the students, that, in the parents also, that what kind of a job will my son or my daughter have. And that's when I started doing, when I was doing coaching for them, they used to come back for career, that what kind of a career they should go for. And then when I used to tell them that, these are the things which are happening, these are the jobs which are coming up, they had no idea. They have no clue. Like, for example, in this COVID period, I'm doing a lot of lectures for different universities and college. And I speak only on this, the employment, future of employment. And I say to them that, what kind of jobs do you think is this COVID pandemic has created? And they have no idea. When I could just give you a couple of examples. There are some things, like, for example, all of us have gone online, completely online. Organizations, individuals, everybody, coaches, consultants. Now look at it. How much do I know about the tech world? Not everybody is very tech savvy, right? But some students, especially the youth, they are very tech savvy. Now, if somebody comes to me, I'm working with students right now. I have 2 interns who are actually doing a lot of work for me, because I don't know that much about the tech world. I don't know that much about social media. They tell me, they mentor me. They are doing my work. They are telling me that, this is how you should do. I call them my tech gurus. This is one very good opportunity which this pandemic has created. Another one, probably webinars. We are doing so many webinars. How about somebody comes and tells me that, there are so many different ways in which you could do your webinar. There are so many different platforms. I could help you set them up. I'd be more than happy to take that person in. So there are so many opportunities which are coming up. But the fact is that we don't think beyond a stable job, which is a full-time 9 to 5, full-time employment with an organization, because we believe that will give us stability and security. It's for you to create. I mean, what can a job give you which you can create for yourself? That amount is incomparable.
So you rightly mentioned out this point that students basically, when they enroll themselves and all they are focusing is on the grades, their parents' expectations, the society expectation, maybe some aunt or dads or like some relatives comes and they said, oh, like this field is there, and they started thinking about that, but they are not looking inside of them, that what potential they have, what strengths they have. And I believe the most close to them would be parents. So how do you think parents mentality can be changed? Because if they stop putting pressure on the young minds, on these little souls, little angels, then they probably like come up with creativity, come up with what best they have inside of them. So I think parents is the home is the first place where the change needs to begin, the way the change needs to be so any programs or any ideas or anything that you are doing or that can be done on that?
You are very right in saying that transformation has to start from home. And I have met parents who are actually not putting any pressure on their student, on their children, okay, on their kids. Not everyone. Parents do have a lot of expectations from their kids, but there are some who don't. Okay, and then now what the transformation has happened, Adnan, which is really amazing to see, is that the kids don't need to be said that we have expectations from you, but they have developed expectations from themselves. They believe they need to score, good grades because they have aspirations of studying in A-class colleges or universities. Why? Because now they've started believing. I always say this, that a belief which is repeated again and again and again becomes a value system. This is exactly what has happened. This has been going on for such a long time. Expectations. Today, we don't need to tell them that we expect this from you. They are expecting that we need to do this. We need to get these grades. We need to get into a good college. If I don't get into a good college, my life is finished. And they do that. Their resilience power has absolutely finished off. They have no patience. They want instant gratification. There is a lot of transition which this new world has brought in the students. But yes, the parents need to be educated on these things, that it's not just about getting an engineering degree which is going to give your child a good future. It's your child's own capability and talent which is going to get your child a good future. If that capability and talent is not in getting a 9-to-5 job, so be it. Look at the world around you. Look at people. Look at people who are doing, it's the time for gig economy today. Look at people who are working as consultants, as on projects. How well they are doing. Where have they reached? The sky is the limit. It has always been. We always brought that limit down. We always brought it just close to our, just very close to our head, because we never wanted to look beyond. Today, it's the time to look beyond. So how do the parents support their kids? Let the parents go out. Let them look around what's happening. Let them have some kind of information. There are so many sites which are there. There are so many apps which are there which give you these kind of information. What are the trends of employment in the world today? If you actually read it, you'll see that more and more, what we say the millennials, what we say the Gen Zs, they're looking at they are not looking at 9-to-5 jobs. They're looking at being their own boss. They're looking at doing things which they can add value to, which they think that this is where I can apply my expertise, my talents, bring out something good for the organization or create something new. We are seeing so many startups. It's a startup economy today, right? Every second person is engaging in a startup. Students who are coming out, finishing their MBA, are choosing to be an entrepreneur than to go for a job. There is a huge transition which has happened, and parents need to look at these things. They need to, not close their eyes. They need to expand their own horizon. Transformation in terms of mindset, definitely it is needed with the parents. And I was doing a lot of work with schools for workshops for the parents. Apart from that, I was also doing a lot of workshops where I was inviting students along with their parents, let the parents sit through. And I was doing these on the careers of the future, work of the future, mindset of the future workforce. So, and I was inviting both the parents and the students, and it was running pretty well. But now, anyways, we are not into that scene. But I'm still doing a lot of webinars on, the mindset of the future, works of the future of work. I have another one coming up next Sunday, which
So,
is for again another
how do you see, as a change management profession, how you see post COVID-19 world? What kind of professions you will see as an obsolete professions, or what kind of industry that will flourish? How the future looks like for post COVID-19?
It's an interesting question, and today, in fact, I was having a discussion with somebody just on this, because we had read an article which was given by Mr. Mark Crowley, and he's a leadership guru in our world, and so he speaks a lot about heart leadership, which is something I believe in, and I do a lot of leadership programs for students on that, which is based on value-based leadership. So it talks about changing the way you look at people and you look at the world and you look at the concept of a leader. And post COVID-19, it's not which industry is going to be obsolete. It's those organizations which are going to flourish are those who are going to adapt very quickly, who are not going to be sticking to the way that they have done things, who are going to adapt quickly, change the way they were, dealing with their customers. And when here I say customers, it's two, internal as well as external. So you first need to look at your internal customers. Only then can you serve the external customer better. So starting with it, because you have the most powerful resource in the world, you have the human mind. Every organization, if they can just bring in their people together, if the people actually take ownership of what change an organization is going through and should look at, we will see an awesome change in the way that organizations have flourished till date. We will see maybe 3 times growth than what it was till date, if we just invest in a human capital, the biggest capital that any organization can ever have. And post-COVID, we will see a lot of blended organizations. Work from home is not going to go away anytime soon. And not all organizations will be going 100% work from home. And I don't think it's suggested also. But what's recommended is keep a blend. Keep a blend, because there are some people whose productivity has gone 3 times when they've been working from home. Because it's not just about comfort zone, but it's also about where does your mind run the most. And if this setting makes me be more creative, makes me be more productive, makes me a more effective contributor to the organization, then so be it. Give me this chance. And I think in the last 3 months, organizations have seen a lot of their people giving in much more than what they were doing when they were coming to the office.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be an interesting change.
Yeah, you're not spending lots of time on traveling, finding parking, and gossiping in the office, and politics, and coffee machines and all that, and spending time on lunch and all that things, and meetings and all that. So yes, lots of productive hours can be spent while working away from office, for the office, but virtually it can be more productive. You are a mindset coach. It talks about everything is about positive mindset. You create the positive visuals, and but where is the heart? I mean, it's all about mind. So there's no heart in your psychology?
Mindset. I never spoke about the mind. It's a mindset that we are talking about. So when we say a mindset, it can never be without a heart. So, because this and this is never separate. If you're talking of a mindset, this and this has to be connected. When we are talking of today, when we're talking of a transformational mindset, this is the transformation that we are talking about. That there is a connection between the heart and the head. And there has to be a balance between the heart and the head. You cannot just take the head and go out, and neither can you just take the heart and go out and beat. It has to be a balanced approach. So how can I be logical and at the same time compassionate? How can I be kind and at the same time be rigid, be fixed on my goals? there has to be a balance. How do you create that balance? How do you change the way you think about things, to change the way you've been doing things, to change the way you look at things? That's where I work with. I don't like to call myself a coach, but it's like when people ask you, what is it that you do? Somewhere when I was trying to explain the work, oh, so you're a coach. I'm not. To be very honest, I'm not. I'm just a master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming who works for transforming people. Now, this is too big a title, so when you say a coach, it just comes up in one word. So that's what everybody said, that we should go ahead with that. It's easier for us to understand. It's like, okay, cool, so be it. But yeah, that's something which probably when I do one-to-one coaching, it comes out more. But I am a consultant. I am a consultant who helps you, facilitates your transformation by transforming your thoughts, by creating a paradigm shift in your own, within you.
How do you do that, being an NLP practitioner? Is it simple?
That's what NLP is all about.
Is it simple?
It is.
It is simple.
It's very simple. It's very simple. It's
and
very simple.
There's a guarantee for that? Money back guarantee?
Yeah, sure, why not? I actually give you your thoughts back guarantee. You didn't like the ones that I gave you. Oh, no problem. I can give you back your old ones.
So you said it's very simple. How simple is it, and how do you do that? Like, what's the process, and how long it takes?
It depends on how long you want to give it. See, I've had huge, massive transformations in just 2 meetings. In some cases, just 1 meeting, and in some cases, the person has needed time, because there are times when you hang on too hard to things that you don't want, that make your belief system. And to let go of belief system, sometimes for some people, they need to keep on going back, and they keep on going back and forth, so they take time. But if you say what is NLP, it's very simple. It's the way you speak to yourself. It's linguistic. So it talks about neuro-linguistic programming. It is basically the language with which you program your mind, what you believe in, what you fear, what are your phobias, what stops you from moving ahead in life. Why are you carrying all the baggage? What is it that is stopping you from achieving the life that you always wanted, living the life that you always wanted? It's all in here. There's nothing outside you which has the power to stop you. The only person who has the power to stop you is you yourself. And if somebody can understand this in 5 minutes, then that's all it takes for them to transform. I've done sessions with students, with corporate professionals, and the transformation has been through the session. At the end of the session, it has been a different story altogether. I mean, I once did this, this was the largest, in fact, I should say. We had approximately 250 students. And this was on beliefs and NLP for transforming beliefs. And so there were around more than 25 students whose phobia was public speaking. So they had an absolute fear of public speaking. Out of them, 18 of the students at the end of the program voluntarily came up. They took the mic and they spoke because they wanted to do it right then. They didn't want to wait for them to start with it. They wanted to start right there. So that's what I'm talking about. That's the transformation, but it has to come from within you. My words can only show you the way. To walk or not to walk is your decision.
So Naheed, people are, like they're saying that it's like people are like onions. You remove one and then there's another one. Even sometimes what I feel about myself, that these are my limiting beliefs, but maybe they are not. Maybe the reality is different. So you being an expert, how do you dig deep into a person's unconscious mind and see what actual problem is?
So there's a conscious mind, there's a subconscious mind, and then there's the unconscious mind. Usually we believe the subconscious mind to be the unconscious mind. It's not so. The unconscious mind is very different. It's where actually everything starts forming. or rather I should say where it's rooted, where it's got its root in there. So I work with you on your subconscious mind. What I do is I just make you question your beliefs. I don't work on, that, okay, this is my limiting belief, and let's get rid of that. Okay,
So
we do.
you do hypnotize, or you just ask questions?
NLP does use trance, does use hypnosis. So yes, I do. I use a lot of trance because I don't think people need hypnosis, but where in cases where it is needed, I've done it.
Ah, okay. Kind of scary, yeah.
It's interesting. It's not scary because when you actually learn that. Let me tell you something, Adnan. On a daily basis, you do self hypnosis to your own self. Why do you need any other hypnosis in your life? You are your own self hypnosis. I mean, every single thing that you speak to yourself, you're hypnotizing yourself to believe in that. So if you say something is difficult, why does it happen that a person, when they say that, okay, this is difficult, they are never ever inspired to try it? Because they've hypnotized themselves to stay away from it. Where does the fears and phobias come from? Naturally, humans are only born with two fears. One is the fear of falling, and the other is fear of loud noises. Everything else is manufactured in a mind factory. Now, how do you manufacture this if you don't have the power to do hypnosis?
You said only two phobias. How
Natural fears. Natural fears.
Natural fears.
So humans are born with two natural fears. One is the fear of falling, and the other is fear of loud noises.
Ah, okay. And how psychology has come to that conclusion?
There is a study which is there. I mean, I am not a psychologist. I am an NLPer, and what NLP states are just these two, natural fears in the world. If you want to check that, look at a baby, 2-month-old, 1-month-old, whatever it is. When they hear a loud noise, what is the reaction?
They start crying, or
they get startled, or they start crying.
Yeah.
What do they understand by it?
Maybe
we hear a loud noise,
fear, maybe some danger is there, or something unexpected is coming, or I don't know.
Yeah, but they don't understand at that age.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's one. The second is that you put a baby on an edge, on a bed, on an edge, whatever, and they, even if they are rolling, when they reach the end of the bed, you can check. There are a lot of videos on YouTube. It's quite interesting to see. They never tip over. Sometimes they lose their balance, and they do. But when they reach the edge, you will see them sitting still and start crying.
I can understand, and I can because one of my kid, when we used to go on those escalators on those malls, and he was like so afraid that like hold me, I might fall down. So yes, that's the phobia, that's the fear. And all fears the other fears are all that we have created for ourselves. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, we manufacture them here. Some incident has happened. We've had some kind of an experience. Most of the time, people hear it and fear it. So they've never seen something in their life, and they hear it and they start fearing it. It happened with my son. So my son was absolutely fearless. Till the time he didn't go to school, he was absolutely fearless. Keep him in a dark room, it didn't matter to him. Keep him anywhere, he hardly had anything, excepting for loud noises. That's something which he used to fear. But other than that, there was nothing else. He went to school and they had Halloween, and he came back to me and he spoke to me about ghosts. And I was like, okay, where did you learn this? And he's like, okay, we had the ghost story in school today. And that day onwards, my son can never go in a place where there is no one, because he's like, Mama, there'll be ghosts. So it's like, it's just like, okay, there are no ghosts. But no, I heard it. It's there. In school, we were told. And right now, he's like, whatever was told in school, it's right. It's true. I know he'll grow out of it. But the fact is, this is how we all develop it. Sometimes we've never seen it. We just hear it and we fear it.
And also for me, like if I look at myself, I say, no, I'm not good in numbers, and I'll always do mistakes with calculations and all that. And so I think this is one of the things which we talk to ourselves, and
There you go.
this becomes our reality. And in practically, we start getting problem with the numbers. That's what if I am talking to myself.
Why did you start believing that you're not good in numbers?
I don't know,
If I just ask.
maybe in childhood, or maybe when I was, like, I'll tell you about myself. When I was in bank, I started after my graduation, I went for internship, and they, like, I was sitting at the cash counter, and every day when they were doing the cash counter tally, there was a difference between credit and debit. I don't know, like, I don't even remember that. And I was like, oh my God, why there is an error all the time? And then onwards, I always think myself that, okay, maybe I'm not good in numbers, or so that's why whenever there is an Excel sheet where there is a data, I'm like confused. Okay, I'll do a mistake. There'll be a mistake from my side.
So, Adnan, how much is 2 plus 2? Now, the fact is, see, you've done a great job of doing your self-hypnosis. Maybe one mistake, two mistakes. As I said, incidences happen or experiences happen. And then we start speaking to ourselves that I'm not good at this. I'm not good at this. I'm not good at this. So what happened? I'll give you one example here. I flunked maths when I was in class 9. I literally flunked it. And that was because of my fear of maths. How did the fear come? I was very good in math in my primary years. In the middle school, when we started doing algebra, when we started doing trigonometry, when we started doing logarithms, there were times when I could not get the concept clear. And when I used to ask my teacher, she used to explain it to me the same way. It was not still going in my head. So I was not doing good in my maths exam. I was not doing good in my maths test. And I used to hear this, that you are very weak in math. You're very weak in math. You need to get help. You are not good in math. And my grades kept on going lower and lower and lower, to the fact that in the 9th standard, I was so nervous during my math exam that I could not even hold the paper. I started puking. I got fever. I was absolutely washed out. To that extent, the anxiety had gone. In the 10th grade, it was do or die. If I don't do math, what's going to happen to me? I'm not going to even pass my boards, right? So I started practicing. I was like, okay, if I'm not good at it, what do I need to do to get good at it? I need to understand it and I need to practice. So I started doing that. And I got very good grades in my maths exam in 10th. That's when I realized one thing is what we say to ourselves, what we believe, hearing people, and what we say to ourselves has so much of an impact. I went and I took up commerce. I was doing accountancy. I was doing balance sheets. I'm a management major, but I did have accountancy. I was a distinction holder in economics, where I was doing statistics. I was not good in maths. And still today, I get confused with, if you give me too much of theorems and algebra problems, I don't enjoy them. But give me numbers. No matter how many numbers you can give me, I can calculate. And I can calculate it faster than a calculator.
And I believe this is very much true in not only with certain skills that we have, but in our relationships as well. We might say, oh, I'm not good in certain things, or maybe if I'm so loud, or maybe I'm so emotional, or I get, hyper when someone says like this. And so we put titles on our emotions or on feelings, on anything that we do in our life, and that thing then dictates us throughout our life.
Okay, you had spoken to me about me a little while back, and you asked me about positive mindset, remember?
Yeah.
Okay, so here comes the positive mindset. It's not about positive mindset only. It's about the fact that I'm not good in a relationship, or I am too emotional, or I am too impulsive. There's a flip side of everything. If I am too emotional, what does that make me? That makes me more compassionate. That makes me sensitive. That makes me become more aware of what the other person is feeling. So I can feel what the other person is feeling more. Instead of looking myself as I am emotional as a weakness, I look at that I can feel other people's emotion as my strength. I can connect better because there is a different level of connection with me, with other people, because I connect with them on an emotional level. So I can make anybody feel comfortable with me very quickly. It's what you are focusing on. If you're focusing on the negative aspects, you will only see the scarcity of things in your life. But if you start focusing on the positive aspect, the flip side, that's when you start seeing abundance. When you start seeing abundance is when you start believing in yourself, when you start building on that belief in yourself. How do you get confidence? From where does it come from? Nobody is born with it. We build it. How do you build it? Because confidence is something which comes when somebody appreciates you. I feel confident. When somebody rejects me, when somebody criticizes me, that comes down. Why? If I know what I'm good at, if I know what my value is, if I know what my worth is, and I take that as my strength, then what someone else says, will that make me feel less confident about myself ever? Until and unless it's something which I'm doing wrong. And that is where self-consciousness has to come in play. I have to be conscious what my activities or my actions, what are the impact of that? Is it positive or negative? Now, when I'm speaking to myself and I am speaking all these negative words to myself, what is the impact? Is it positive or negative? When we talk to people, we always make this effort that I don't hurt the other person. What about yourself? When you talk to yourself, what are you doing? That little voice in your head, does it come and tell you that, you know what, you're awesome, you're so good, you are such a nice human being? Or does it come and tell you all the time, you didn't do this well, you could have done this better, you are so weak in this, you are so not good in this, you are speaking out, are you sure you should say these things? You don't have the knowledge, you don't have the information. Why does that voice come and tell you all of these things? Because you've fed those voices with all of these words all throughout your life. First,
Naheed,
it started with other people. Yeah, sure. Sorry.
you pointed out very beautiful, because I just today what happened was like someone was like watched my video on LinkedIn, the interviews that I'm taking, and one of the other colleagues, he said, like this is all intellectual stuff, and if you want to get some hits or views on YouTube, there is like entertainment should be there and all that, so nobody watches these 40 minutes or 1 hour videos and all that. And I was like, okay. And for a while I was like, okay, am I doing it right or should I change it? But yes, I mean, if I like it, and if I something which even one person I can inspire with these videos or whatever I'm doing, I don't have to look at the people's opinion to decide what I need to do in my life. And this is what happened throughout in our lives, especially when you are young. Like you always look at yourself in the mirror and you will see, okay, am I looking too fat, or I think this dress doesn't look nice on me, or uh, the watch that I'm wearing, it's not a branded watch. So I'm always thinking from an outsider's point of view, and that's how I am, like moving ahead with my life. Okay, what others think, what other people will say. Uh, so this is I think I feel like it's one of the biggest hurdles in person's life, to move ahead. Looking, like all the clutters, all the junk that you're getting, and you are just confused what to do with your life, isn't it?
It's beautiful what you've just pointed out, because when I do work with people, it starts all with, I've always been told, they've always said this, nobody believes in me. It's always outside. And this outside thing has always said, then comes the internal voice, and that says, and I am not good with this, and I am not good at that, and I am not good enough for this, and I'm not good enough for that. So all of these external stimulus has fed your internal voice, which starts making you doubt yourself, lose your confidence, have no self-esteem, have no self-respect. And then you feel it, and then it washes out where? In your job, your productivity decreases. In your relationships, you're not happy. In your life, you're not satisfied. You are just dragging yourself from day to day to day to day. You're not living. You're just, or rather, I should say, you're not alive. You're just living every day. Why? This realization is something which is not common, and it is the most common sense, I should say, that we all are blessed with, but it is something which is just missing in people. That when we are talking about, say for example, Adnan and Naheed, two different people, right? From two different backgrounds, two different family, two different upbringing, two different, absolutely different personalities. So if Adnan believes that something is not good, how can that be the same for Naheed? Naheed has her own beliefs. She's grown up in a different environment. She's seen in her view, good and bad is different. In Adnan's, it's different. Until and unless, again, I point out, it doesn't harm or hurt somebody else or causes any harm to the others. Good and bad are just perceptions. Your perception, my perception. For example, as of right now, your right is my left. That's how common and how basic it is. Your right hand, if I say raise your right hand, you're going to raise, and that for me is the left.
Yeah.
Right? So how does it make you wrong or me right or anybody in that matter? So what happens when people speak to you and they come and say, this is, as you just pointed out, that these are long videos. Now there are different types of people in this world. Some don't like it, but some do. Look at the views on your videos. Look at the likes. There will be likes, there'll be dislikes. There are views. People have viewed it. If it would have been the case that 40-minute videos, nobody views, then how did those views come to your video? How did those likes come to your video? Our problem is that we are more interested in seeing how many people disliked and not seeing in how many people liked my video. Or rather, I see the likes, and then the moment I see the dislikes, the likes become absolutely worthless. I'm more concentrated on the dislikes. Why did these many people dislike my video? And then I'm looking at, maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe I'm not doing it right. Maybe I should stop it. What about those who liked it? If I take, I do a feedback with my clients. When I was a trainer, I used to do it. When I was an L&D professional, I used to do it. Whenever I've done a workshop, I do a feedback. 1, I wanted to know what I did right. 2, I wanted to know what I've done wrong. 3, I wanted to know what are the different types of perception. Because these different types of perception gives me a knowledge, gives me an additional knowledge of human behavior, human perceptions, preferences, likes and dislikes. Okay, the likes give me what I did right, and what I didn't do right gives me the chance and the opportunity for me to learn. If we put our life in a SWOT every time, if Adnan has created a SWOT for himself, he knows his strengths. People tell him his weaknesses, and he also from there finds out his opportunities and what are the threats. Adnan can grow holistically, but do we look at it from that way? It's a mindset. Am I looking to develop myself, or am I looking to compare myself? I am too fat. Compared to whom? Whom are you too fat from? My clothes are not looking good. Compared to whom? What are you comparing yourself every time with? If you're looking in the mirror and saying that, if you're looking in the mirror and you're looking at yourself and you say that, okay, I was 5 years back, I was this healthy. Today, I'm not looking good. That's fine. That's good, because that inspires you to probably start working on yourself and get back in the shape that you were. But if you're looking at somebody else and you start looking at yourself and say that, oh, look at that person, so smart, he's so good looking, and look at myself. You've compared yourself with someone else. Why? My question is simple. What makes you do that? What makes you think that there is any kind of benchmark on which you can compare yourself with anybody else? Every human being is born with one USP, I should say. We call it one natural skill, natural talent. All of us are the same, but all of us are distinct because we all carry one distinct feature in ourselves. Our characteristics, personality, behavior, family traditions, family background, children of the same parents, your siblings, are they the same as you? They should be, right? Because they've come from the same parents, they should come from the same background, they've come from the same family, everything is the same. Why are they different? We all are distinct. So if we can look at what my value proposition, what is my strength, what do I carry, what do I bring out, I don't look at that. I look at what I lack. What I
Thank you so much, Naheed, for that. How coaching has impacted your own life? Is there any difference in your own personal life because of your profession?
Oh yes, of course. Every person that I meet, every person that I coach, they add so much in my life too. I get a learning from them every time that I meet a new person. So yes, it has made me a better person, a better human being, because we say that everybody has a story, and it's only when you work with people, it's only when you live those stories that you understand that, yes, of course, because see, I had a story, I have my own story. And when I went to Dr. Bandler, and when we were coached by him, we understood that, I'm not the only one. There were 350 with me in the room who had stories, and everybody had something which was maybe as huge as mine, or maybe even bigger than mine. And that realization makes you so humble that you are not alone, first of all. And the second thing is that there are people who are suffering just as you are, or maybe more than you. So you get, once as you hear it, and once as you're surrounded by them, that's a different experience altogether. And then when you work with people, when you help them, every time somebody has moved on with their life, they've added so much value to my life. Every time somebody has been able to achieve what they came to me with, that has added value to my life, because they have taught me maybe something about life itself, maybe something about struggle, maybe something about pain. It's always been a learning experience.
Wow. It's a growth mindset that you're talking about, a learning mindset. Any personal difficulty that you faced in your life, any challenges that you have faced, what they taught you, and what was your personal mechanism to come out of that personal adversities or difficulties or challenges of life?
Challenges, I actually had a decade of it. So I come from a conservative family background, wherein it's not that we were not allowed education, but it was education as per the choice of the family. And no career, don't speak about career. So girls in our family were not, in our society rather, it's a huge tradition that you're supposed to get married after you reach a certain age. And my mother had to give her education because she had to get married. And when it came to me, then I wanted to study, and she stood by me because she wanted to study. So she said that finish your studies and then we will talk about it. So I became a bit greedy. So once I finished my graduation, I wanted to do my post-graduation. And that was something which was a big fight indeed. And she stood against the entire clan, and she fought with me. So that started the struggle, because it was not a very nice period of my life. There were a lot of struggles for my mother. There was a lot of struggle for me. After I finished my post-graduation, I was not allowed to do any kind of job. And so I was seeing all my classmates and everybody, going to fulfill their start their careers. And I was always driven by visions, by a dream that I wanted to do something in my life, achieve something. I wanted to be a medical professional because I wanted to always help people become better, serve people. But I never got the chance to do that because, that required a longer period of education, which was not allowed as per the society, because my family could not keep me for that long. They had to get me married off. It was an ironical situation that I got married at the age of 32 because they could not find somebody suitable for me. But that was a difficult period. Yes, I went into depression. I had tried to end my life, and I got out of all of that. I didn't have a coach. I didn't even get a psychiatrist for that matter, because it was not something which was spoken about or even thought that this kind of a help is needed. It started with anxiety. It went into depression. It From depression, it was, before that, it was no self-belief, no self-esteem, no absolute confidence in myself. I had a phobia of public speaking. I'm not saying fear, I'm saying phobia, because it actually used to get me sick. I fainted because of that. And coming out of that was again another resolve. It was always resolves in my life. It was always the challenge which I used to put across to my own self. Not initially. Initially, I used to give up, and then I used to put the challenge, and then win it out. So yes, it was a difficult 10 years of fighting your own flesh and blood. People who you've always been close to, who've always loved you, but suddenly that love poofs away, because you now started asking for a life which you want of your own making. That's made me realize one thing, the entire thing about beliefs, the entire thing about looking beyond, thinking beyond, all of that struggle in my life was just because people did not believe in certain things, and that was not because there was any proven fact or logic behind it. Nothing. Because when I did ask this question, what is it that is wrong about getting a career or getting education, there was no answer. So it was just beliefs, their limiting beliefs, which were pushed down generation after generation after generation, and you were just asked to submit to them. For what was the logic? What was the reason? Give me a reason why I need to believe in this, why I need to follow this. I was never given a reason. And that is the reason why I started fighting. What I started saying that, first it was fight. And then when I saw that fighting was only making things become, tense and bitter, it was then that, I don't care what people say. My mom and dad were standing with me. I started what I had to do. I started going out. I did my job. It was a difficult period for our family, but that's okay. I mean, in the initial days, even my father was not with me. But slowly and gradually, he did come, and stand with us. So then it was first a job. Then it was getting married according to my choice. I had an arranged marriage, but it was as per my choice. It was as per what I wanted and the person that I felt that I wanted to spend my life with, which was again not something which was spoken about. So coming from that kind of an orthodox background and being where I am today, speaking my mind, helping people speak their mind, that's a huge, it's been a journey, and it's been an amazing learning experience. I don't ever want to forget anything about my past, not because of the baggage that I carry, because of the strength that I draw from there, the inspiration that I draw from there. I know there are many girls like me, there are many students like me, there are many people like me. And if I can even change one, if I can even make one understand that everything that stops you in your life is just here, whether it is others or whether it is you yourself. What made me become phobic to public speaking? It was here. There was nothing wrong with me. I don't have a problem with my voice. I can speak absolutely clearly. What's the problem? What made me feel that, I can't? It was just here. When I started speaking, it's different.
Your story reminds me, and I can very well connect within my society, not even within my society, but within my family and close relatives as well, where I've seen, especially girls, they are far talented than the boys. They have lots of dreams and aspirations and goals in their lives, but they have the expectation of their parents, relatives, and society that after graduation, even if you're getting A+ and all that, and you're brilliant and you can achieve a lot more, but that's it. All you need to do is just get married, have a family, and just live in the kitchen, take care of the kids. So you are the one who were the warrior. You were the one who were different. I mean, you said that you got married at 32. For a parents, from Asian background, this is they will die. I mean, thinking about that. Oh my God, what will happen? And the relatives, they're coming. What has happened to this girl? Why you're not so many things are going on, and you've managed this. So the girls who are struggling right now, and they have their own aspiration, but because of the pressure of the society and the parents, they are forced to say yes to whatever proposal is coming, and just living a normal life. Do they need to accept it, or do need to accept that challenge and convince their parents that yes, there is a world out there from the marriage? Yes, there is a time the marriage will come, and I will be, like, performing my duty as a mother or a wife or whatever, but yes, I have my own dreams as well. So how they can balance and how they can manage that challenge?
Number one, don't give up ever on your dreams, ever, no matter what happens. I mean, as I told you, I went into depression. That was the time when all of this was happening. The pressure was huge, it was immense, and the things that my parents were going through, especially my mother, it was unbearable, because it was, you can't see your mother in that state just because you have dreams. So that guilt of me being the cause of so much of pain for my mother was huge. It was huge. It led me to a very different place in my life. It led me to a very, very different low in my life. Completely, I didn't want to live because I was the cause of so much of pain and anguish to my parents. But even at that point, I never gave up on who I wanted to be. So I'll end my life. I won't do that. I'm not saying that anybody should go there.
How?
That is not the answer.
How
but
they
the fact,
how they feel right now?
They are proud of me. And this is what I was about to say, that you don't need to go there. Reason, in this whole world, if the only people who will ever stand with you, it is your parents. They may not be with you in the initial phase, but believe me, no matter what happens, they can never see you in pain. They can never see you in pain. Stick with your dreams. That's all I will say forever. Today, if, when I had my child and I had taken a sabbatical of 3 years, my mother was at the back of me. Get back to you. My father was at the back of me. Why aren't you starting? Why aren't you working? I'm like, I'm working from home. He's like, no, start doing your workshops again. Start doing your seminars again. You were doing it so well. They are the ones who started, pushing me after I had actually taken it relaxed. But in the initial days, it was very different. What changed? When I reached a position, when I was working with State Bank of India and my father started getting that kind of respect, I saw the change in his eyes, that, it's not just a son who can bring respect to the family, but even a daughter can. If you stick to your dreams, and if you are not, again I repeat, harming anybody with it, hurting anybody with it, if it is not causing any harm to anybody, stick to your dreams. Be a rebel. Be the change that you are fighting for. Don't just keep fighting with people to agree with you. They will never agree with you. Start doing what you believe in. That's what I did. I just started doing what I believed in, and it didn't take me too long to prove myself, because what I believed in was what was my purpose in life, what I was passionate about. And when I did prove myself, everybody else's mouth was shut. There was nobody who could come and say, excepting now, the only thing they could speak about to my parents is that, you have got such a successful daughter, who will get married to her? Where will you find a good candidate to get married to her? Somebody who's more successful than her. Why? My parents only said one thing, the one who's destined for her, she'll get it. Because that they started believing in those things. They started changing. And that change didn't happen because I fought with them. That change happened because I did not stand. I kept on moving. I kept on doing what I had to do. It was a fight in the initial stage. It was very bad. There was a lot of things which was there. It was very painful, I should say. But then, if you believe in it, that pain is worth it. And today that pain it's forgotten. I only see and I remember and I get the appreciation of my parents, the pride that they take in my work, and the way they speak about me, the way they look at me today. It's very different. The love that they have for me was never ended then, and it is even much more today, because I never did anything wrong. I did not fight to do anything wrong. It was for my own life. They did not understand it then. They understand it today. And they advocated to the other people also. Let your girl study. Let your girl go out and do work. Don't get her married off so early. They have started doing that in the society. They've started speaking to people. In my family, I've got doctors now. Girls are doing, they are doctors, they are lawyers. My sister's a lawyer. She's an advocate in the High Court. All kinds of changes happened. Before me, there was not one. After me, everyone is.
You said that you had the phobia for public speaking, and now, mashallah, you are talking from your
I'm a
heart,
public
and
speaker.
you are a master now. I can see a great speaker in you. So what tips that you can give to our audience who want to aspire to be to speak their heart out in front of public, and who want to change people's life by going out there and telling their own story? So what tips you can share with them?
Well, today there are so many platforms which help you with getting over your fear of public speaking. We have the Toastmasters. We have so many public speaking courses which are available, which help people put a structure in it so that you can get out of your fear in a very structured process. But I believe all of that one side. What actually matters is, what's your passion, and why do you want to speak? What's your purpose? My purpose is that change is within us. Whether we are working in an organization, like when I was working with organizations, when I was working with State Bank, when I was working with the Future Group, all of these places, I created transformations in people who were public servants for 25 years, 26 years. In fact, I still remember the first time that I stood for my training program. It was for a group of AGMs, Assistant General Managers in the State Bank of India. And the first thing they told me is, our experience is more than your age. That's the kind of mindset people had. They still do. And that was my region, which I was given, which was the bottom 10 in the country. And in a year's time, we were top 5 in the country. And in the next, we were top 3 in the country. How could people who were so complacent and who had this kind of an attitude change their performance? They didn't change because of me. The activation ratio in my state went up from it was 37% when I was there to 67%. I made it, there was a 30% jump. I didn't do anything. I just worked on this. And that's what we need to understand, that, when you are talking about fear of public speaking, it's all here. It's all here. Any fear for that matter. Why do you get that fear? Because when you think about speaking in front of people, you start getting a lot of visuals in your head, a lot of visuals. We are humans are visual people. We think in pictures, we speak in pictures, we dream in pictures, we do everything in pictures. As somebody speaking a story, a video is running in your mind, or maybe you're seeing images. That's how we see it. So when you say public speaking, you're seeing yourself standing in front of people and everybody's eyes are looking at you, and you start getting that palpitation, that anxiety, that nervousness. All of this because of the picture that you just made. Now change that picture. Look at those faces, smiling, eager to listen to you, eager to listen to your story, wanting to learn from you, and there because they want to listen to you. When you see that kind of image, do you feel nervous? Because they are interested in listening to you. They're not judging you. They're there to listen to you. There are a lot of techniques in NLP which basically teaches us that, it's, as I said, we are all visual people. We all see things in visuals. So how do you change those visuals? And it changes a lot of things in your life. It's about the language that you use and you speak to yourself in. Fears and phobias, believe me, if it's something which you want to get rid of, probably an hour is all you need to get rid of it. You can get rid of it. It's just a matter of an hour. I've done live demos where actually 20 minutes is all it took.
Great. I mean, I think I'm loving this conversation, and I believe our viewers and our listeners would be having the same feeling that I'm having. I'm motivated. You've inspired me. There are lots of aha moments for me as well, and your personal story touched me, and I had literally had the goosebumps where you were talking about your own life and how you came up from that stage where you went into depression, and then you proved yourself, and then your dads and your mom, they felt proud about you. Thank you so much for your time, Naheed. It was pleasure to have you with us. If someone wants to get in touch with you for any of your mindset coaching or anything, how they can do that, and
I
with a final message that you want to share with our audience.
Yeah, sure. Final message, very simple: believe in yourself. I mean, whether you're a sales professional, whether you are an executive, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a business person, whether you're a student, a housewife, whoever you are, just believe in yourself. Because whatever you need, it's like in NLP, our co-founder, Dr. Richard Bandler, says that we are all born with the resources. We just need to learn how to become resourceful. All of it, all the resources that you need for your success is right there within you. If you have somebody to help you, today we have a lot of coaches. We are blessed. We have a lot of coaches. I have coaches at this stage. I mean, when I actually needed them, I did not find any. But Alhamdulillah, I'm blessed that today I have so many coaches who are actually guiding me, teaching me, making me become better every day in what I do. But we didn't always have this privilege, Adnan. When we were in school, how many times did we actually get to meet a counselor or a career coach? Hardly any. But today we have that privilege. So use these resources which are available. If you feel that you need to develop something, go out there and develop. Don't think too much. Overthinking will only cause anxiety. It will only make you stop. All the beliefs are here. Everything that stops you is here. And everything that you need to actually reach the pinnacle of success in your life is here. It's all within you. So if you just work on yourself, that's all that you need. You don't need to go out and prove anything to anybody. You just need to be yourself. Everything else will just fall into place. You want to get in touch with me? I have my Instagram handle, Inspire Naheed, where you can reach me. You can reach me through LinkedIn. I'm there on Facebook, Naheed Khan. And I also have my own website, naheedkhan.com. Apart from that, in Dubai, in the UAE, I have my company, which is called the Future Wits, FUTURWITS. The reason why it is called Future Wits, it's because it talks about creating future wisdom. So my company says, the future is more than we think. And we basically work with organizations, we work with individuals, we work at educational institutions on transforming mindsets. Because skills, qualification, everything one side, but if you don't have the right way of thinking, your skills, your qualifications, everything's gonna just be, just gonna fall flat because you don't know how to apply them. So it's just, if you change the way you think, you change the way you feel. And if you change the way you feel, you will be amazed at the things that you can do in your life.
Thank you so much, Naheed. I appreciate your time, and it was a great motivational dose for me, an inspirational session full of learning. Friends, we've learned about mindset, we learned about how to change it, we've learned about how to take action and not to, be a victim of our own thoughts, and stop listening to the criticism and the others' expectation, and start looking at ourselves and see what strengths that we have and start working on those strengths. And with this, we can conquer the world. We can make sure that people who are not believing right now on our beliefs, they will definitely feel proud one day if we are persistent and consistent enough to go ahead and do something about that. Thank you so much. Take good care of yourself and take good care of the people who are around you. Take care, and we'll meet another exciting personality. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adnan.
Thank you.